All right. Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Draglist Live, where we bench race with the world's top drag racers. My name's Bill Pratt. It's great to be with you tonight, and I'm super pumped because we got Jon Capps back in the house after several years. He was on about 14 years ago. We'll talk about that. Before we bring Jon in, let's go to the other Jon Bockelman. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great here, BP, and howdy from Houston, everybody. Please join us on the live chat. I'll take notes and I'll pass your questions and comments along to Bill and Jon.
Awesome. Thank you, Jon. Folks, click the little like, the thumbs up down there, click the share, let your friends know we have Jon Capps live. And so to prove it, let's bring him in. Jon Capps, welcome to the show.
Man, has it been 14 years?
It was August 8th and August 29th, 2011. So you had just won a big nostalgia funny car race, think Drive It for Henry in the Jungle Gym car. And then you were about to go compete at Indy. So you came on and you brought some dude, some brother of yours, and you guys were talking
Man,
about
it's been
Indy
14
that year
years?
too. Yeah, 2011. Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
Well,
That's crazy.
man,
Thanks for having me back on. I really appreciate it.
thanks. Great to have you on. And I know, we got we got 14 years to catch up on. We'll talk about some of those great rides, but I want to bring us, right here to 2025. You've had a great year. Congratulations on winning the March meet, man.
Sorry about that.
Welcome to Drag.
Sorry, my phone
Yeah,
is
we
freaking out on me.
we do those things all the time here, so we're good. So, but anyway, so the Matthews Motorsports car, Mr. Cecil Matthews, and you rocked and rolled, man. Some 550s at 260 plus got the job done.
Yeah, that was an amazing, amazing weekend. Definitely a highlight of my career from growing up there as a kid to having had a lot of luck in the city of Bakersfield itself. My first USAC win driving dirt cars, USAC midgets,
Wow.
was in Bakersfield, and then my first alcohol funny car Division 7 win was in Bakersfield, and my first nostalgia win with the Heritage Series. So
That's awesome. It's
yeah,
it's a great track. We got to get back out there this year. I guess there's some stuff going on this year. I'll have to find my
yeah.
way.
There's a bunch of things going on there this year with the way that they changed their lease agreement around since Irwindale disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah, I was there. I was glad to make the last one. Sad it was the last one, but glad I was there.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. And also, so a little bit of big show acts in the Nitro Moose, Rob Winefsky owning that. And I know Dylan's getting ready to rock and roll here. We've had him on a couple times. Tell us about that. I guess went the first round at Phoenix, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah, we didn't, honestly, I was there to help Johnny West kind of get a baseline for the week, so on Monday afternoon or Monday morning, they didn't have to make a lot of extra runs, and I've known Johnny West for a long time and he's got a huge resume and a ton of accomplishments, but I've never worked for him or with him or driven for him.
Okay.
And it was really, really cool. Everybody has their quirks and, different things that they like to have done. And first thing I did is I got there and I asked him, how can I make it better for you? And he gave me some things that were quite a bit different from just about what any other driver does. And
Really?
yeah, he said, in my opinion, one of the best funny car drivers out here ever has been Kenny Bernstein. I said, okay, well, what do you mean? And just the way he stages the car, it's quite a bit different. And so I said, okay, I'll try it, and went in with an open mind. And I could see is where that would be a huge help and why Kenny was so good.
Oh, that's amazing. That really, really, Bernstein obviously had his huge impact on the sport, but you usually hear it from, usually hear about, his marketing prowess and getting the Budweiser deal. You hear about him bringing on Dale Armstrong, of course, but I've never heard anybody say, wow, he was, this someone to look up to for drive. Obviously could drive, but I mean, it's pretty cool.
There's small things, even like my brother does. Kenny was pretty much the only guy that used a push brake instead of a pull brake. And some guys use it. My brother uses it now, so he was definitely an innovator, and it's the reason why I did so well.
Pretty amazing. People don't realize. I think everybody thinks pretty much these cars are just carbon copies of one another. That's not the case, aren't they? Everybody has their own little quirks on how they do it.
Yeah, I didn't know it, but when I flew out to Boise on Thursday night, the team wanted to test on Thursday at the last minute, and I wasn't there, and so they actually had put another driver in, and we had quite a bit shorter throw on the throttle than he was used to, and a little bit stiffer springs on it, and he wasn't used to it. And he's like, man, that's really short throw with a lot of spring on it. I'm like, I jumped in it and just did what I was told, So
Yeah.
there's small things that every little cockpit has that's a little different.
Wow. Tell us about Boise. I didn't catch the updates from that race. How did you guys do, and what happened up there?
Well, I mean, we don't really have a reason to hang our head high. We lost first round, but there were some weather issues. We lost our third round of qualifying on Saturday. Nobody got a chance to run. First round qualifying, we had a little gremlin. We had a throttle stick after the burnout, so that was kind of interesting. Had my hands full with that.
Man,
and we lost first round, so we really only had one qualifying run.
Right.
And went down there, and it kind of started to hurt itself a little bit, I felt. And so I lifted a little bit early, and we still got that. I think we ran a 565, I think.
Oh, nice.
So it was down a mile an hour a little bit for us. That car, I think we were 248 or something like that. So it was down about 6-7 miles an hour for that car.
That's getting the job done, though. I mean, is this the Matthews car? Is there still?
It's Matthews car. Great group of guys. I mean, the way they have it set up is really cool. There's a car chief who helps with the tune-up. There's the engine guy, and then there's Cecil, who kind of oversees everybody with the clutch and everything else. And they all get together and put their minds together and have a conversation. It's a real cool thing to watch.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. Well, I want to talk about where you are, and then I'll go back and we'll go to the chat real quick, and then we'll talk about some history. But you're in a hotel room in near Dearborn, Michigan, as I understand. Tell us what's going on up there.
I'm here working for Ford Motor Company, and what we're doing is like an employee appreciation thing where we're giving employees who don't necessarily always get a chance to drive the car that they build sometimes, right?
Right.
So we're giving them a chance to drive some of the EV vehicles, the Mach-E, on a little like an autocross kind of course. We have some Mustangs that they drive, and then we actually drive them in the Bronco Raptor and the Raptor Ranger. So what we do is we accelerate down and turn around, and then accelerate about 60 miles an hour and hit this jump with them in the car. And so,
oh my God,
helmet and head neck restraint and everything. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. We hit this jump at like 60 miles an hour, 57 or so. So I don't get in trouble in case they're watching. And so it's cool because they're about 3.5 feet off the ground, and they travel approximately 20 feet distance.
Yeah.
Right. That truck is so good that it just feels like you're driving off a curb. It just
wow,
amazingly.
Unbelievable. That must be a huge thrill. They must have a lottery to let the guys, I'm not sure how they select the guy.
Well, every department has to sign their people up, and we've been here for 2 weeks already. This is our third week. So
wow,
I think we're hitting a good majority of the company.
That's great. Wow, that's great. Well,
it's a cool facility. I mean, to be able to drive on the Ford Proving Grounds is kind of rare,
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a fan of the brand. I mean, it's to go at any one of these places out here in Detroit, that the Proving Grounds or anything, and then look around and see stuff. You see cars driving around with, black and white polka dot decals all over the place. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what was that? Like,
yeah, right. The test mules out there. I don't know. I always saw those things in like the car mags, and I'm like, did they really think we can't tell what it looks like with that stuff?
I mean, you have to be a pretty sharp guy to figure out some of the different body lines that they're doing.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Jon, thanks for that. Well, let's go to the other Jon Bockelman, and see who's out there to say hello tonight. What's going on the chat line, Jon?
Well, so far we have people in New Jersey and in Utah, I believe. That's where Crafty Kate is. Rodney Potter's with us from New York. He says hello, everyone. And Rich Panicaro in New Jersey. Crafty Kate had a question for you, Jon. She asks, what advice would you give to a newbie to drag racing?
Don't do it on the street. I mean, every racetrack in the country has Friday night drags or midnight mayhem or whatever they want to call it. Excuse me. Definitely don't be doing it on the street like that, where you're up for some really bad situations if something goes bad.
Right. The interesting...
I would say mentor, go in and learn as much as you can about the operations of a car, know how it works and what it takes to make it go fast, to make you a hell of a lot better driver if you know what you're working on.
Right. Well, check with someone else. Oh, good, it's gone. I had this Duggan alarm going off in the background. I was gonna have to get up and get that thing. Let's see if it happens again. I'm gonna move over there. But Anybody else, John, with a thought, a question?
Uh, Crafty Kate says she's not into street racing, but people are still showing up and
Cool.
saying good evening to y'all. So so far we're caught up for the moment.
All right, thank you, John. Thanks, everybody. Get those questions ready. We got a Dearborn test track driver here, plus about every flopper known to man, driven it over the years. Well, I was looking back through like I started at 2011 and going forward. So, but obviously we talked about the Jungle Jim car, and Henry is
Gutierrez.
just a great guy, and big impact on the IHRA back then. And it's funny there. I don't know. I guess your thoughts on that. Have you figured out enough about what they're doing? Because I keep hearing different things, but I would love to see those nitro, the Nitro Jam sort of series come back. I don't know if they're going to call it the same thing, but
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that email last week. And so I sent the guy a message saying, what's the reality of what's going on here?
right.
And sounded, to me, it sounds pretty ambitious to put something together like that for this year.
Yeah.
If they had the infrastructure, it'd be great. If we can get some funny cars together, and I asked them about if a nostalgia car could enter with a big show car for them,
Right.
or an A-Fuel car even,
Yeah. Yeah.
So he didn't think so, but he was going to get back to me. And I think, at this point, they probably should let anybody they can that would, have cut off on speed.
Yeah. You put a show on, man. I don't get you to put a couple of Pinewood Derby cars next to one another. If you got a crowd in the stands, you got to race. You can't.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like what the Funny Car Chaos does on there. I drove one, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
But it's so hard for a nitro car to beat those alcohol cars,
Right.
because by nature they hook up a lot better, and they're a lot
Right.
faster than the first 660. So
Right. Yeah, it's funny when the nitro car becomes your more affordable option, especially I don't know how many of those guys run screw blowers, but
yeah,
probably a couple of them. It's a crazy way to go.
yeah,
But you have raced. I was just looking at all these cars, man. You have helmet will travel. You've helped so many teams get down the track, and going way back. I mean, you've raced for Paul Smith, the Owsleys. I mean, I guess I'll share a couple thoughts on each one of these, and maybe if you can tell us here some impressions. I'm going back to this is like 2011 still. So Paul Smith, and he had the Biesenbach sponsored car. I guess that's how you say it, and went some pretty good numbers at Ennis, qualified at Ennis. I went 3 rounds, but lost to some clown, in the semis, named Ron.
yeah,
But that was pretty amazing.
yeah. I mean, David Biesenbach, great friend of mine, that came on board with us when I was driving for Paul. I had previously driven for Paul when I had the Vegas fuel sponsorship. And
Gotcha.
we were on IHRA and NHRA with that. And so David came on board with us. We ran a few races with him, and such a great guy. And the emotion, we don't see it because we go to the racetrack every day, And
Yeah.
and remember when we went to Indianapolis, actually, we went down there and we ran really well in Indianapolis, and he was on the starting line, and we won first round. I think we had beat the DHL car with driving, and because we were number 16 qualifier, and he was so happy. He grabbed my wife and hugged her, and she's a little bitty thing, and he basically broke a rib.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, she felt horrible for him, and then once we didn't tell him for like 5 years afterwards,
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was the energy that those guys have are so amazing, and it's always
Yeah,
been nice to have him as a friend and sponsor.
it is awesome. And then the Owsleys, you were at Cordova racing the crop duster and running some 580s, and getting the job done and back then. And
Yep, that was a great car. I mean, that his setup, his tune-up was quite a bit different from anybody else's, but it hauled the mail. It was the crazy thing about it, because it was a smaller engine, so you really got to get the RPMs up. And so I didn't shift till almost the finish line. It was like, it's hard to wait, because I'm not used to that with a larger, 500 cubic inch engine. But it was a great car. The car hauled butt. We went to Bakersfield. We did well with there, I think, as well.
Yeah. Remember, I think Rapid Randy was out there with you guys, wasn't he? Baker, was that the year he was out there helping?
Yep. Yeah.
one of
Yeah,
our
great car.
insider guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. So and then looked like in 12, David Biesenbach stayed with you, but Worsham was the car owner. Was that right?
Yeah. So we wanted to go to some West Coast races, and it's financially just easier to do with a West Coast team, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of what we put together with them. And the cool thing about it is, speaking of Cordova, I think the following year after I drove for Owsley's, I drove for Dell in the Big Show car. We had a little match race set up. I think it was, geez, who was it? I think it was Wilkerson and I
Okay.
had a blast.
Geez, was I there? What was that? Was that the 50th? I
It could
can't.
have been. I think it was. Yeah, because we had a couple of Big Show cars, and along with Chad Head, I know was driving his dad's.
Yeah,
nostalgia
yeah,
car.
yeah. So I was literally there. I saw that race.
Yep. Yeah,
I was out there on the front on the starting line with Kepner yapping about it.
yeah, that's right. That whole thing with Kepner was hilarious.
Yeah, the thing was funny is about, what I realized is, when you got to see the nostalgia cars and the Big Show cars side by side, it looked like the Big Show cars were shutting off early. Like, whoa, what happened? But of course, you're going 1,000.
Well, and you shut off a little bit early because you don't need to run it that far, right?
Right.
Kind of a friendship, a gentleman's agreement, like, hey, we're gonna get out of 1,000 foot,
Yeah,
just so you
yeah.
you don't make each other look, show each other up on an ET, but
Sure.
it's a safety issue, and if you're a bought in race like that, as long as the promoter agrees that we'll both go to 1,000 foot and get those times what they are,
Right.
it's just safer. You don't have to run the car as hard and
Right.
do some stuff.
No, but I mean, you went your full 1,000, but it just looked like when you just saw another guy go the other 320, it's really pretty interesting.
Well, the good thing, the flames make up the difference for it, I think.
Yeah, that's right. No, the sound was just incredible. And yeah, you got nice obviously I'm looking at, nice 411 at Vegas, 290 at Indy. So you're, got the job done, got in the show. I mean, it's so tough with, unless you're just one of the top cars with all that cubic money. It's hard to compete with those guys, and you're out there, knocking heads.
Yeah, and those guys that run on the circuit every weekend, they have the latest technology, and the latest technology, although it costs more money, it actually helps to run a little bit easier. You don't have to
Right.
you don't have to work the other parts as hard to get the same
Right.
result.
Right. Don't have to massage him as much.
Yeah.
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 So going into they're taking it 2013, Steve Pfluger, the great, had raced for him out in Sonoma.
Yep.
And
Actually, I think in 11, I'm not sure if you see it or not, but when Dave Richards was getting his license, I drove for them in Atlanta.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, same situation where we ran on the weekend, and then he got his license on Monday afterwards.
Wow. I think okay, gotcha. Well, I'm sure I've got it, but
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't pull it up in my little notes here. I did this just before the show, so it's probably driver error on my part, but there's Paul Richard, the McLeod Fletcher's car, right? At
Yep.
Atlanta, right in front of me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, got the job done there, and then another Jungle Gym at Cordova with the 570s at 238 just flying.
That was another special night. I mean, and I know one of those nights, and first of all, that race is amazing,
Yeah.
with the fireworks display and everything. And here I was in the final round against the War Eagle with Poldy driving. And he hated it when I'd say it to him all the time, like, man, I used to watch you, you're my idol, dude. And he's like, stop it, you're making me feel old. But we went down there, and we obviously won the race, and they towed all the cars back up, and you stop at the half track at the 660 point, and they let all the fireworks off. We were sitting there on the track, with fans coming walking around and everything, and I'm sitting there, and I look over at him, and he goes, don't say it, don't say it. I'm like, man, this is a cool moment. I got a chance to beat the War Eagle with Dale driving. That was fun.
Poldy's awesome. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, so yeah, I hope he's doing all right. Yeah, they're awesome, man.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about, it's like hanging out with all you big guys, right? I mean, it's the cool thing to turn heroes into pals. That's what we're here for.
Right.
And let's see. So a little more crop duster work with Frank and Deborah there. I don't know quite where in 2014, but
I don't remember either. Honestly,
and then And then Pluger with the Bucky's. I don't know what is obviously not Bucky,
It's Bucky Austin's.
or was it Bucky Austin's car? Wow.
They're buddies.
Okay. Was Pluger just was he just the tuner or did he own that thing?
No, it was Steve's car.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, out in Vegas, man, hometown, knocking the teens. The thing is, some of the numbers we pop up, right? They're not, 370s, not 380s, but that's, when you come out there once a year, right? And you have like 3 or 4 runs, right? To get where everybody else has been running all year long and try to get the handle on it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think how long ago was that? 10 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, this was 14. Yep.
Yeah. So, 10 years ago. So the numbers equate a little bit, but the other
Yeah.
thing about it is, like you said, he didn't really run too often, and he was, still trying to run things the way he thought should be done without, having to run very aggressively, which he did a really good job at.
He sure
But,
did.
Yeah. And one of the things about it was, as a driver, for a driver that doesn't get a chance to do it all the time, and you're in a car that's not, setting the world on fire or going for number low qualifier, it's more difficult to drive a car like that than it is to get into a car that is going to be a number 1 qualifier, because there's little minute things that, okay, it's running pretty good, but is it good enough to qualify, or should I get out of the throttle?
Right.
What was that? Did I feel something? Is it dropping a hole, or
Yeah.
So you're always processing things, and you don't want to be the reason why you lose the run.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
you're always second guessing yourself, and it's a lot of stress. And you
Yeah,
don't
I'm
want to
sure. And you don't want to torch Steve's car.
Yeah.
He's the man. Was he still trying single pump then, or had he moved
No,
up?
we went double at that point. He, for a long
Double.
time, was trying to do it without a computer, and then he finally got one and double pumped, and kind of, everything else, he was dragging his feet, kicking and screaming.
Yeah. Well, he was he was a traditionalist, but
Yeah, his
let's-
nostalgia car was a bad mamma jamba.
yeah. Well, let's take a couple seconds. Let's take a break and bring in we're in the mid-teens here, but let's take a break and go to the chat line. John, who's out there and what they got to say?
Well, Crafty Kate had another question for you, John. She asked, what's your favorite track?
Oh man, wow. There's so many different ones, and for different reasons, obviously. I'll just go ahead and say it. Well, I'm a big fan of ice cream, right?
There you go.
It's got that pound of ice cream for $1. That's kind of hard to beat. Different tracks for different reasons. Let's see. Bakersfield, now that I won the March Meet, I mean, growing up there as a kid and winning that thing was amazing.
Yep.
Sonoma, it's a beautiful area up there, and it's hot during the day, and at night the fog comes in. It's just pretty. Let's see. Maple Grove's a lot of fun. It's a really beautiful track. You're shutting in the shutdown area and, cruising through the trees, and it's so pretty. Pomona is always special because it's kind of like our second home track.
Right.
Yeah.
What else? Indianapolis, because it's Indy.
Right.
I have a cousin that lives near Sonoma, and it's beautiful, beautiful place.
It is. Yeah, it's amazing that they've let it stay there for so long, with all the grapes and everything around it. That they haven't said that the grapes are upset that they're making so much noise or something.
Yeah. They're shaking them out. Matter of fact, the Maple Grove is probably the last time I saw Ron, if my memory. So it's been 10 years though. I don't get out enough. I need to hit the road.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a bunch of other favorite tracks, but they're all road courses.
Yeah.
Road tracks.
We'll talk about that a little bit too. What else we got there, John? Bockelman?
Well, everybody's exchanging pleasantries and everything, and we had that question from Crafty Kate, but I wanted to let you know, John, that I was just blown away when you won the March Meet. I thought that was fantastic, man. That's
Very special. Every time somebody brings it up, I still get goosebumps.
I love it.
Imagine.
All right, sir. Well, let's thanks, John, and thanks, guys and gals out there. And get them questions going, and
I'm just
bring
glad none
them
of
on.
my friends are making bad comments on here.
Yeah.
They're all behaving.
Yeah, I know. What's up with that? Man, we
don't
need to get
know.
some more rascals out there. So let's see. I'm jumping into 2016. Jim Broom and the Candies and Hughes car, the repop, or not repop, but the recreation, I guess. That was a pretty cool car. And
Yeah. that was cool to get that phone call. I mean, obviously it was not, the original, but it was still basically the original. It was pretty close,
Looked just like it. It was a
I mean, as far
really
as
done.
they had
Nice.
their approval and everything, so it could have been, for all intents and purposes, the real deal. But yeah, that was a really cool deal, and it was foreshadowing because we'll talk about it later a little bit. The car I drove last year, I drove for Jim again, and
Uh-huh.
we they had been having some problems back then when they called me and wanted somebody to a different set of eyes, or if you will, a driver
Yeah.
to see what the problem was. And so we went there and I kind of gave them my opinion on some things and had some good luck with it, and did pretty well and had some fun. Good group of guys. Jim's a good guy. Got a lot of great stories over the years.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like one of them crazy Arizona guys, been there for a million years. And
Yeah, in Tucson, not even Phoenix. Yeah,
yeah, they got their crowd of guys up there. That's pretty cool.
yeah,
A lot of fuel altered guys. But
right.
speaking of which, so here's something that I gotta ask you, because I just found out I had a big error in my lists, because I've got that year I've got your 405 at 307.44 at Pomona and booming speed. But I have it both in Jeff Bennett and Leon Fitzgerald as the owner, and Steve Pluger as the owner. It couldn't have been both cars. Do you recall
No,
who that was?
I I had to have been Steve Pluger, I'd
Yeah,
imagine.
I'll dig it out. I think you guys ended up first alternate at Pomona that year.
That sounds about right, unfortunately.
So yeah, well, yeah, it sucks. But yeah, I'll make a fix on that. Yeah, but that's Pluger again, doing his stuff. And then 2018 Smokey's Dark Side. So this Smokey Element, is he the same guy as is that the same Ailman that from the Fuel Ultra days? The other who's the other fellow? The sheep herder. Is that the same family?
I don't think it is.
Got
No,
it.
he was originally a mechanic for IndyCar guys, um, and super sharp on that kind of stuff. And it's kind of how he got into drag racing through the IndyCar kind of stuff and circle track stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's from Paso Robles, real close to where I'm from,
Okay, awesome.
Cascadero.
And then I saw like I've got a blank here, unless I missed. It looks like from 2018 to 2022 when you came back for Walt Fuller. I'm missing listings for you. Did you take a couple years to do roundy round stuff, or?
No, I think there was some time in there. Yeah, I drove for 2018 to 22. Huh, I drove the Australian car. I think that was in there, right? I drove that a couple times.
I'll go find out. So
Yeah.
you're well, show me missing all my stuff that I should have been doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I know that there was something else in there, but you know, I think I did take a couple years. I know that I was working a lot doing some motion picture stuff.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Got it. Well, I'll do my homework and get back up to speed. But we just had Walt Fuller on, and he just was saying all kinds of great stuff about you, but with his WTF guy, and of course, old Walt back to the bushwhacker days and all that stuff. Another crazy guy from Arizona at the time. I guess he's in Texas now.
Yeah. Tell you
But
what, I was really impressed with Walt, and unfortunately, it was a one-man band. Didn't have enough help, and didn't have the funding it needed. But we went out there and we gave it our best. That funny car chaos, and
right,
it was bizarre. We had a problem where it went out there, and I felt something weird, and we were only going 660 obviously, and it went out there and did something weird about 330 feet, and I got off the throttle, and luckily it did, because it had grenaded the throw-out bearing in the clutch.
oh man,
And we were getting after it pretty aggressively, and the reason why I know that is because when I came to a stop on the track, the headers had sagged and flattened, basically lowered so far that it squared off the exhaust tubes, the headers.
wow,
So they were not walled thick enough for how much fuel we're putting in to the motor, and
right,
so we got
oh
them
man,
pretty warm, and it literally had sagged them, and they squared off. And so as soon as they started pushing the
wow.
car, grounding noise. I'm like, wow, what is going wrong? And so the guy goes, I don't know how to explain this to you, but your headers are square.
That's that reminds me of those old 60s, late 60s, early 70s shots where you see the red hot headers. And I thought
Yeah.
our coating technology is a little bit better these days, but man, you really hit that thing on fire.
Yeah, I was really unfortunate. I was looking forward to driving with him quite a bit. Good group of family, good group of people, his family and everything, and he's really sharp guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a lot of smart guys limited by money, right? That's, it's
yeah,
money and time.
that's true. Unfortunately,
Pretty cool stuff. Well, then, like I don't say 23, so let me know if I screwed up there too. But 2024 though, that's back in the speed sport car with Jim Broom again, and that's running the big show, 476 at Phoenix at only 238. That's what a heck of a
yeah,
one
it
that was.
yeah we broke a rear end, I believe, in that situation. I know you're missing something. I don't remember the year though, and it's one of the cool things that I brag about a lot is I got a chance to drive uh the Nanook, the KLOS Super Shops
Yeah. Okay.
Nanook, the Super Nanook, the brown one,
Wow. No,
in
no
Bakersfield.
kidding.
Yeah, that was kind of neat.
Is that what Mr. Huff owning it back then at the
Oh yeah,
time?
yep.
I love Dave. He's awesome. We
He was a good guy.
always
Miss him.
chatted. Remember 50th Indy, which was like the same year, I think, as Cordova or the year before or after. Got a chance to hang out with him there. And it was weird. I was over there hanging out the vintage section on the other side of the track with all those guys and the big show guys were going on. But
Yeah, we always
that's
watched
good.
the guys.
I will get some numbers for this. I will find out when this happened. And now I'll send some of our Draglist super crew after it.
I know the Jackson brothers have video of it.
Okay, got it. Well,
Yeah,
old Jamie is a pal. I sell them on the site, although that's the streaming that's kind of killed his deal,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's just what happens.
Actually, I was talking to Les Mayhew about that actually this weekend in Boise, because we had
Yeah,
it. I had an issue that the throttle had stuck, and so that was kind of a scary moment for me. But my dad made fun of me and told me that I was a chicken because that's how altereds are.
yeah.
Paraphrasing.
That yeah. The stuck throttles. Well, obviously they get out of them, you're fine. Otherwise, it could really, really suck.
That part. Yeah.
Well, so great, man. I'll find that Jackson Brothers video now, but pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, what's the rest of the year look like, John? What you got some more races scheduled?
Yep. We're gonna run with the NHRA Heritage Series as well as the couple of the Legends of Nitro, right? They kind of run together.
Right.
Our big thing right now is we really want to go to Indianapolis. They're having a deal where Heritage is going to go. I think it's the top 8 in points are going to
Oh,
go.
nice.
Invited to go to Indianapolis, so that's kind of our focus because we really want to go there.
Right.
Um, I'm really stoked to be driving for Matthews, man. It's a really cool group of people, and the car does its own talking.
Gets it done. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's check. John, you got anybody else to chat with for a second? Uh, who's out there?
Yes, while we were just talking, let's hold on a second.
We got I got
Randy
John.
Johnston says, good evening, all. He's just tuning in. He's in Northern California. He says, Jon, March Meet Funny Car winner, congratulations. And he also said he sure has his brother's smile.
Wait a minute,
Huh.
who's older? He might have your smile. Like
Yeah.
He's older, 5 years.
And Rich Panicaro in New Jersey, we were talking about your favorite tracks. He said Maple Grove is an awesome place to race. He said he made it to the runner-up at Maple Grove in a 10K race, went 8 rounds, and got $4,000.
Whew, that's not pretty good.
Tell you
Congrats.
what, driving that jungle car was so neat racing on the East Coast because we went to a few different places for different events, and the people come out of the woodwork with all Jungle Jim tattoos and all their
Yeah,
stories about when they were a kid and they did that and they saw Jungle Pam here or Jungle Pam there,
right.
which is a whole nother story. I ran into Jungle Pam one time before I was driving the jungle car
Uh-huh.
um,
That's true.
outside of Englishtown. And I go, you look really familiar. and she told me her name. I'm like, "You're Jungle Pam." She goes, "How did you know that?" I'm like, "I trust me. I stared at a lot of your posters when I was a kid."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's very cool. I've got it. Well, in the early 2000s when we started the Funny Car reunion at Englishtown, I was there for that first event. I met her like not that year, but the next year. And then I threw a website together for her that we had for many years. Of course, technology's passed us all by, but she is pretty cool. What people don't realize, unless you get to meet her, it's just how cool she is. She's just a down-to-earth person. Her
Yep.
poor husband, Bill, who's an awesome guy, but I'm like, if you can
You guys
imagine,
know.
like your wife is like, everywhere you go, he just takes it with a grain of salt. He's very cool. So
He handles it a lot better than I think most people would.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, a shout out to Jungle Pam and Bill. Jon, what else we got out there, sir?
Well, Crafty Kate just said what we're all thinking. She said, everyone is listening. We don't want to miss anything. So we don't have very many comments or questions, but you're giving a fantastic interview here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Rich Panicaro just said Jungle Pam is awesome. Did we just mention her?
We did indeed. Yeah.
She's
So,
awesome.
Wait,
thanks,
did you still doing a
Jon.
great job? You're not listening to me?
To
Well,
me, she was.
well, see, Jon's been playing rock and roll for many, many years, and sometimes that it becomes evident on the show. He's just as
Yep.
bad as some of us drag racing announcers and drag racers and aircraft carrier sailors, which I am. It's a wonder I hear
Me
anything
as well.
myself.
I was on the Midway. Which one were you on?
I was on the Nimitz. Amazing. That's so cool.
Yep.
So I
Yes.
don't hear everything, but I hear. Hopefully, I hear what's most important.
You
Right.
do, man. You got it going on, Jon. Thanks. So what about, tell us a little bit about your other racing. I know that you kind of throw some sprint cars around. What else do you like to do out there?
Yeah, I haven't done it in a while, but I definitely miss running, open wheel cars. Growing up as a kid, started in go-karts, obviously.
Mhm.
Got into running some dirt tracks, minis, 3/4 midgets and midgets, some sprint car stuff, pavement and dirt. And tell you what, man, that was a whole different world.
Yeah.
Um, I like running the Copper Classic at the Phoenix Mile, and a
Mhm.
midget was probably not the smartest thing for me to do my first time my first time in a midget.
You jump right into it, both
Yeah, I
both
figured
feet.
everything else after that would be slow, so um, not wise.
Wow,
But
so cool.
yeah, there's some tracks like in Winchester, Indiana, was an amazing track. If you've ever heard anything about it, it's kind of just like Bristol. It's a half-mile high banked oval.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it separates the men and boys, that's for sure.
Yeah, let you get up enough speed to separate the men and the boys right there.
Yep.
And height. I mean, those ovals are amazing. I mean, I've just seen them on TV. I've never raced on them, but I'm obviously never raced on them. I've taken a few laps down the track, but not anything fast.
Yeah. The funny thing is, not funny, but the guy who was like that owned that place in a pavement sprint car was Doug Coletta.
Okay, no kidding.
And that was like his stomping ground. He owned that place.
Yeah, he was he's a driver's driver, isn't he?
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
He looks like
That's
he's
why
funny and mild mannered. He's like Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Looks so mild mannered like an accountant. He gets in the car, he's a killer.
Yeah, he does look like Clark. That's the best analogy I ever heard of. I never thought about it, but it's so obvious, the
Yeah.
Clark Kent of drag race.
Yep.
Very, very cool. Well, what you got while we have you, anybody you want to give a shout out to, sponsors or friends?
David Biesenbach has always been with us, been still with me here. Good friend.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah, helps when he can, but just good. I get phone calls from him and motivation every once in a while, Monday or Sunday morning on a race. It's good to hear. All the guys are driving back this morning from Boise back to
Right.
Northern California, where they're from, up by Eureka area. So I'm sure they have a nice long drive.
Yeah, no kidding.
I had to fly back last night on a red eye and landed at 6:15 in the morning in Detroit. Had to go from Boise to Seattle to Detroit. Landed at 6:15 to be at work at 9 o'clock in the morning. So
Yikes.
yeah,
Hopefully you got a couple winks on the plane.
yeah, kind of. But it's a bunch of. I've been very, very fortunate to be surrounded by a bunch of good people, friends and family, obviously. These guys right here, Porter, guys in
Yeah.
service, amazing friends, and it's funny. I know that his whole crew, usually when they watch these, they all sit around and watch it. And whenever I see him, it's a lot of fun. So let's see. You know, my brother's team is amazing. They really get into, and Guido's actually, you know, I'll send my brother a text if I have a question about something, and next thing I get a long list from Guido of questions.
Yeah.
You know, and, it's cool to see their involvement and everything. They're actually they such good guys, and they're so busy with everything. They take time to, if I have questions, they help me out. So it's
That's
really neat.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really proud of Ron, you know, and Antron for that brand to go out and they're like become owners and do this thing. I mean, obviously they
Right.
got the experience to do it, but that's a big step. And
Yeah.
now you're managing like a Fortune 500 company up there. You know, it seems like.
Yeah, it's definitely opens up a whole Pandora's box of problems that you didn't
Yeah.
have to deal with before, right?
And they both like leveraged it to success, which is like just
Yeah.
rock on. Well, that's so cool.
Those two guys that's funny you mentioned them together because they're so similar in a lot of ways that they handle their business, you know.
Mhm. Oh, just good guy. You know, I'm proud to know them both. Had them on it both a couple times, you know, and it's just they're great.
Yep.
Well, let's back to the other cat, Mr. Capps, the
My
most
dad?
the star of the evening. You, where can folks find you on the internet or elsewhere? Can folks follow along with your career?
Yeah, you know what? I've kind of you know, when I took that little bit of a break there a couple of years, I was kind of disheartened and discouraged a little bit, and I didn't really do much of a website, but I try and do a decent job on my Instagram and everything else. Um, I've been getting better about it, I think, you know, and doing programs like this. It's helped me a bunch, and it's funny how just for me to come out here, I don't think I'm, you know, what you say I am, right? I don't. I'm kind of humble that way. I don't think that of myself, but you know, those people come over and say really, really nice things about what I do, and it kind of gives you a motivation to go down there and start chopping down trees again.
Heck yeah, man. Well, you know, I mean, you can talk about it or you can do it. You can watch it, you can do it. And you're literally doing it. No matter, and as I said earlier, you know, have helmet will travel. There's not many folks who've driven more funny cars, I think. I mean, I could sit down and it's probably something for Kepner to figure out. He could tell us to the to the car. But
Yeah,
no.
there's some guys out there that've been doing it over the years, you know, that here and there trying to get a ride whenever you can.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, it's definitely not the easy way to go about things.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you know, and there's a lot of, you know, Joe Morrison's one of our buddies, and he's in the same sort of, you know, he's got his helmet at all times just in case, you know,
It's
and
really neat. Guys like Paul Lee, and he was kind of,
yeah,
he and I would a couple times there, we were basically changing our seats out of Paul Smith's car,
right,
you know,
right.
and it's really cool to see him being able to do what he's doing right now.
That's
We,
really
every time I see
gratifying
him,
too. It's
yeah,
almost like you don't expect that can happen anymore. And I'm sure he's not, you know, I mean, sure he's pouring lots of money in and it got a good sponsor and stuff, but you know, still it's great to see guys go like that. And you know, it's great to see you, Jon Capps. You're one of our favorites, man. You're out there rocking it and rolling it
I appreciate that.
and making it happen and thrilling the Ford employees with 3 foot high jumps with an 80 mile an hour, well,
60,
57 mile an hour
yeah,
Raptor.
57. I get in trouble
Yeah.
if I go over 60.
Anyway, it's been so great to have you on. Thanks a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2025 March Meet winner, Jon Capps, and looking for a lot more success. Let's go. Top 8, man. Get to Indy and
Get it.
have a wonderful rest of the year, sir. It's been an awesome to visit with you and
Thanks
enjoy.
for having
Get
me
a
on.
little
Thanks,
sleep
John.
tonight, and we'll see you down the road.
You got it.
All right, Jon Capps, everyone. See you later, sir. And with that, let's go over to John Bachman for this week's JB's Take and the Racer of the Week. Mr. Bachman will take it away.
Thanks, BP. My pick for races of the week are Shane and Jessica Lyle from Mount Washington, Kentucky. Their mid-50s Chevy Gassers are outstanding hot rods, and I'm proud to feature them tonight. I'll read what they sent to me, and here's what Shane told me. Shane's story on the strip began at age 16, piloting a 2017 Roadster in bracket classes before advancing to quick rod in a Spitzer dragster and eventually top dragster. His journey was fast-paced and filled with success, but after 2002, he decided to step back from the driver's seat. The need for speed, however, never faded, and by late 2020, he found himself once again itching for the track, and this time with the distinctive nostalgia drag racing group, the Straight Axle Mafia. The Straight Axle Mafia series isn't just any racing series, it's a 17 race showdown that celebrates the golden age of drag racing, where racers roll back the clock to match their machines to vintage specs. And Shane's Gas Hole, a straight axle, ladder bar, 55 Chevy, equipped with a 496 big block Chevy and Powerglide transmission, is a perfect homage to that era. Now, this gasser running high 580s in the 8th mile is more than just a car, it's a time machine, reminding racers and fans of the good old days of drag racing. And though Shane was an experienced racer, shifting into nostalgia drag racing required adapting. Gas Hole stripped Shane of the electronics he had grown accustomed to in bracket racing, demanding a return to basics. By the end of his first season in 2021, he had become more comfortable with the setup and was well on his way to a competitive edge. By 2022, he claimed second place in the points series, a feat he repeated in 2023. This year, however, Shane achieved his ultimate goal, clinching the 2024 points championship title with Gas Hole. For Shane, this accomplishment was more than a win. It was the realization of a journey from his youthful drag racing days to the nostalgia-filled runs of today's straight axle mafia events. And his wife Jessica also has her own 56 Chevy Gasser that is nearly as fast. She finished second in the straight axle mafia points series last year. Both cars race in the straight axle mafia at all 23 races. Last year, they finished 1 and 2 in points. Their cars are different, but are identical. Their cars look different, but are identical mechanically for ease of spare parts and swapping parts in an emergency. Shane's friend Dallas came up with, in collaboration with the Gas Hole's fantastic paint scheme. It stands out as one of the best I've ever seen on a 55 gasser. Shane and Jessica's business as custom upholsterers is equal to their accomplishments on the drag strip. Sewn Tight Custom Interiors is 100% family owned and operated. It's located 10 minutes south of Louisville, Kentucky, and they are Kentuckiana's premier hot rod interior shop, specializing in custom classic cars. Having gassers, it seems like a good fit. At Sewn Tight, you will always receive excellent customer service, and they pay attention to detail and ensure the best results. Quality is their priority. They use only the best materials available to ensure your car looks show ready for years to come. They will design your interior for you or take your dreams and make them a reality. I have visited their website and I can truthfully say that I have not seen better work. Shane and Jessica are fantastic artists, and their product is absolutely the best you'll ever find. With Shane and Jessica, y'all have the best of everything, and I am in awe of not only your outstanding hot rods and your successes on the track, but of your artistic talent with your business as well. We wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. Back to you, Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Jon. Appreciate it. And man, I really want to thank Jon Capps, who stuck around out on the chat and was answering some questions before he said farewell. So thank you, sir. Pretty cool. Let's look at what we have coming up. Thanks to Miss K. We are off next Monday night. I hope everybody has a nice, restful Memorial Day as we think about our fallen heroes over the years. But in June, on the 2nd, so 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to have Jim Howe of Howe Motorsports. He's the team owner and driver of the Guardian, the Warden, and others on the hit television show Street Outlaws. So bringing the TV show here to Draglist Live and looking forward to it. On June 9th, the Quadra Boys are going to join us, the Pro Stock Racing Team family David Quadra, Fernando Quadra Jr., and Christian Quadra. Today we sent Pop Fernando Quadra the save the date notice, and looking forward to seeing all the guys on the show. Not sure how many of them we're going to get, if all of them, and if we do that, how we're going to pull them all in. It could be really exciting to see how we pull this off. Also coming up June 16th, Chris King, the NHRA funny car driver, just raced this last weekend. Didn't quite get into the show, but we're going to talk about his efforts as he goes forward and tries to tackle those big show NHRA funny cars. Chatted with Chris via a little couple of texts, and he's looking forward to it. And then, folks, on the 23rd of June, Alexis DeJoria coming on, the NHRA funny car driver, and of course, driving that wonderful tequila car, and so cool. With looking forward to having Alexis on the show for several years. We've never had her on. Really looking forward to this. And then jumping forward to July, teammate Ida Zetterstrom coming on, the European Top Fuel champ. She's coming on July 14th. In the meantime, Miss Kay and I have been chatting over the last week. She's got lots of great additional racers she's trying to get lined up, and lots of folks are showing interest, and she's showing interest right back, and we're going to get those other slots filled. So coming up in June, we got some great drivers, but we will be off next Monday. Moving over to those we lost, two names to mention this week, huge names. On the 7th, and I sort of missed this last week, but Robert Nickens of the famous Texas Nickens racing family passed away on the 7th. Had some really great notes from Vinny Barone, world champion Vinny Barone. Said that Robert was a key man in his first world championship. He helped him unconditionally. And Vinny shares he's so sorry to hear what happened. He'll always remember and never be forgotten, and sends his love from Vinny Barone. So farewell to Robert Nickens of that great Texas door slammer family, the Nickens family, Nickens brothers. And then on the 16th, Kate shared this, which was really close to home for us and for all of the folks in Southern California. Ray Sylvester passed away on the 16th. Ray owned and drove a series of California Rattler entries in top alcohol funny car and altered from the 70s on, right until the last couple of years, and with a series of other drivers. Of course, a daughter, Becky Sylvester, and also driver Mike Halstead, both of whom have been on our show. So our condolences to Becky, Mike, and to all the friends and family of the great Ray Sylvester, the California Rattler, and of course to the family and friends of Robert Nickens as well. Thanks for the thrills over the years, guys, and we'll never forget you. And with that, that is a wrap for our show tonight. A fun one with Jon Capps. John Bockelman, any final thoughts from you, sir?
It was great having Jon Capps with us tonight, man. He's got a lot of great stories to tell us of his adventures that he's had in this sport, and I know he's going to be racing at Indy coming up, isn't he?
Yeah, if he's one of the top 8 in the Nostalgia Funny Car circuit on the NHRA side, the Heritage Series, he will. So, but he's rocking and rolling. He's got that Matthews Racing team. They are running solid mid-5s, that's right there. That's what you need to do. And of course, the big winner at the Bakersfield March Meet, which is, let's see, everybody say that again. Every time you see John, tell him that. So he'll get those goosebumps, as he said. Well deserved.
He's a very dedicated guy, and he was very down to earth considering all that he's accomplished. And I really enjoyed being with him here tonight. And I hope that everybody has a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. And we look forward to seeing you again on, I believe it's going to be June the 2nd.
Yep. All right. Thank you, John. Well, let's do a wrap, folks. We want to thank Jon Capps, who was awesome. And, especially when he was like red-eyeing it into Detroit first thing in the morning and working all day and then staying up and hanging with us. Really appreciate that, sir. A lot of fun talking to John. Of course, John Bockelman, my brother, who takes such good care of us. Ray Turkelson, or Kay Turkelson, Sorry, I had my mind on Mr. Sylvester still. Kay, who's just doing a great job. By the way, I got my Draglist business cards as well, so we're all sporting them. They came out great. I want to thank Rob McCabe, who's just, man, he's slamming data into the lists every day, trying to keep up with every single series, all the way down to top sportsman, top dragster, and then into some of the other quicker sportsman classes. The man's a machine. He's pretty great, and got a lot of great, got some really great respect from a couple folks online, including our, our good friend Brett Kepner gave him a solid shout out, and a couple other folks. So Rob's doing a great job. I want to thank Mel Bashore, who from the 50s, man, if you want to know it from the 50s, he's sticking that all in the drag lists. And of course, Ron Toombs, who's just updates every single day. And great stuff. And of course, thanks in heaven to the big man, Danny White, who got it done for us for so many years. And I see his name every single day as I make edits, because unfortunately I regretfully have to delete his name as the last editor, because it would look really weird to have it, something that was, what's today's date, updated March 19th, 2025 by Danny White. That would look kind of weird. I'll have to adjust our algorithm on the site here pretty soon. But anyway, we want to also thank Jeff Gilder of Zeus Digital Marketing, Racers Arena and Radio, and Wingding Media. He's amazing. He got us started back in 2010. We still hang in there and chat with Jeff quite often. Click the like, as I say, down below, the little thumbs up button. Click the share button and the little Draglist logo in the block down there. That'll let you subscribe to our channel. Please do that and share that with your friends, and let folks know that you can be part of the family here, part of the super crew. We love our fans, and we're not fan, no one's a fan. We don't have fans, but we have fans of the folks who come on. That's true fans, as we turn our heroes into pals here at Draglist. And finally, a couple more notes, checking on Draglist every day to see what's new. Lots of good stuff up there. And finally, I'll say farewell tonight, folks, and we'll see you next June 2nd for Jim Howe of Howe Motorsports. Until then, have a great week. Have a great couple of weeks. And on behalf of John and everybody else,